Hey, Lisa, welcome to the Girl Take No podcast. How are you?
Wonderful. How are you?
I am good. Thank you so much for coming on and being so gracious with rescheduling. I really appreciate that.
Not a problem. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so let's kick things off by telling me a little bit about your journey from being a registered nurse to how did you get into like the whole professional decluttering and organizing space?
Thank you so much for that question. So, yes, I am a registered nurse. I've been a nurse for like 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so funny because I spent some time working in the hospital, but I spent the majority of my career as a home care nurse.
Okay.
And so I remember really clearly being in people's homes to do their wound care, change their Foley, do their colostomy care, all that good stuff, and looking around and being like, wow, I really wish I could do something to make these homes look more peaceful, less cluttered.
Yeah.
Obviously when there were safety issues, they would have to be insured through the proper channels, but there was just so much stuff that I saw in people's homes that would contribute to their wellness. So it was something that was always on my mind to be able to provide for people. But I stayed in my nursing career for a while, moved into the management space. And then there were some personal shifts that happened in my life that caused me to start this decluttering and organizing business.
Cool. And so, because, I have a lot of friends who are very disorganized, have so much stuff all over the place. And I'm a very organized person. Like I need things to be where they need to be. Do you think a lot of people who have those issues when it comes to like cluttering, because I watch a lot of those shows like Hoarding and stuff like that, Hoarders, do you think a lot of that is just emotional why their spaces do you think their emotions are attached to what their spaces look like?
I do. I think to a significant extent, the way we feel about ourselves, there's a relationship between that and the spaces. Now, some people who are just like super busy, particularly as you maybe with our spaces and things.
Yeah.
Just like don't have time. It's really more like a time thing. Like it would just benefit from hiring someone to come and like shit themselves out.
Yeah.
But the action of people aside, it's definitely an emotional thing that happens. We have shopping addictions. Then hoarding is another emotional issue in and of itself.
Yeah.
And then we have issues related to like pets. So like people who experience in their life,
yes,
letting go of it.
Yeah,
and they're comforting themselves through shopping and other behaviors.
Yeah, that's true. Was there like something pivotal that happened like in your life that you decided to say, hey, decluttering and just kind of like solidified this decision for you to go into this particular field?
Absolutely. So I've been a single mother and I was an adult caregiver for many years. And I've always been an adult since I was a child.
Mm-hmm.
And having two children of my own, I was constantly in the space of, I got to put things out, I got to put the old toys, put the new toys, the things were always straight. And having my mom here, I had to manage her things as well.
Yeah.
My mother was ill for many years, and so I spent a lot of time going through myself because she wasn't able to give it access.
Yeah.
It was a very emotional journey because it was actually something that I spent years doing as a parent. And as I was going through her personal effects, not just her clothing, but letters and documents as well, it allowed me to get to know her in another way. And I found it to be very therapeutic because like a lot of mother-daughters, there was a lot of tension in that relationship.
Yeah.
And so I found a way of getting to know her and understand her better by going through that therapeutic process made me realize, wow, this is something that a lot of people would benefit from. Do it all by myself. But I thought, if this is a service that I could assist people with, help people go through it, I feel like that would highlight a lot.
Yeah, I think so too, especially like you said, when people deal with loss and it's so hard for people to clear things out, we want to hold on to everything. And then you think about the busy professional who doesn't have time and kind of just like all over the place. So it definitely works in those spaces. So what do you think when look at some of your clients, what are some of the most common challenges they face when it comes to clutter and organization?
The universal feeling that people express to me is that they're overwhelmed. They just reach a certain point, in their behavior and their habits and their shopping and their home management where they look around and go, oh my God, like I don't even know what the scissors are. And so they feel overwhelmed. There's so much stuff in the house that they don't even know where to start.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the universal feeling.
You
regardless of what the underlying issue is.
Yeah, exactly. Let me tell you, I mean, Lisa, you're better than me because I walk up in people homes and I see all this. I'm like, you guys are so messy. And I'm like, my mom was one of those women that if she walked into your home and it's like stuff all over the place, she's like, oh, I'm not eating from here. She's one of those people.
My mom was the same way. And not only that, on the flip side, if you came to our house and you left something at my house, if it wasn't picked up within 48 hours, it was gone.
Okay?
Everything in my house had a place and nothing was getting left behind.
Exactly. And it's so funny because I have a large family. I have 12 siblings, and it's so funny because, and I'm the baby, and I realized that some of my siblings didn't adapt to the way my mom raised us to be in terms of like being organized and, you know, throwing things away. Some of them just kind of like have stuff all over the place and they feel like, oh, this is freedom. Mom had us under her reign.
Yeah. That, you know, it's so funny. That happened with my kids. I was also very particular about their diet.
Yeah.
And once they got to a point where they were able to pick and choose what they wanted to eat, you know, they went way left. It was like McDonald's every day. I was like, oh my God. But the thing is, after a while, people will realize, oh, Mom was right.
Yeah.
I should be in some place. I should be mindful of like what I'm allowing into my life. I should be in my budget. I should be evaluating why I'm shopping so much. Right?
Yes.
No place to put any of this stuff.
Yes. And that's the key. And I know a person like you is so needed because I've seen people who have finally had somebody come in and help them organize things and they just feel better. Overall, they feel better. They walk into a space that's clean and things are in their certain places. And it doesn't mean they keep it that way all the time, but I've just seen people say, oh my God, I feel so much better when I walk into my home and everything is where it needs to be. Stuff is just not like all over the place.
And I say clients all the time, of course I want your students to look good, but my primary objective is for you to feel better and for you to be able to function more efficiently.
Yes. That's really what it comes down to, is how you function in your home and not feel so overwhelmed, because like I said, I feel like people's lives reflect their homes. If you're stressed out and you're going through so much, then your home looks that way as well. Things are just like all over the place. And, you know, because people will know when I'm going through something because they know I'm a very organized person. So if they come into my house and things are not like where they need to be, they're like, okay, girl, are you okay?
All right. Yeah. And that happens to me when I get to my office and I see, you know, I have a little box right next to my desk, like issues to address. It's too full. I'm like, Lisa, this matters. Needs your attention. The goal is for this box to be empty.
Yes.
There are like 2 or 3 things that are like pending, you know, in action. But if that box is full, it's like, these are deferred decisions. That's why all this stuff is in. It's like, these are a bunch of things to make decisions about. And I kept going, I'll decide later.
Yeah.
Sometimes people just get, like I said before, so overwhelmed, they can't even begin to address it. So that's where calling a professional comes in to say, okay.
Yeah, because I think, like you said, the first thing is that they don't even know where to start. They don't even know how to go through it. Tell me this, how has your background contributed to your decluttering organization, like your background, nursing, sociology, and stuff like that?
So I love people.
Oh, you got to, if you're going to do that, definitely.
Yeah, if you go back to my like elementary school, middle school report, very good student. I was a very good student. So I was prepared, but I was also very social. I just love people. I love talking to people. I love listening to people. And so, particularly as a nurse working in the home, you are on the patient's trip, right? Versus when you're in the hospital. In the hospital, basically they're at the mercy of the hospital system. So when you 4 o'clock in the morning, wake somebody up, you have to give them medication. That's on the hospital schedule. When you work in someone's home, you have to be completely deferential to their customs, their culture, their practices, and their preferences. So we've been working from home over a decade. Really, just started to, you know, love with people, like my respect for people. So it's a great preparation for, you know, being able to come into any kind of space. You know, as a home care nurse, I worked in everything from the SRO, a single residence, basically like one room and like a setting, to, you know, the multi-million-dollar penthouse on Park Avenue.
Oh,
So I
wow.
worked in every kind of home setting as a nurse. I knew that as a declutterer. I also worked in a variety of settings.
Yeah.
Some people were renting a room to help them with that room, to multi-million-dollar homes in Harlem and various places in Manhattan.
Yeah, that's so awesome. You have a philosophy on that says the power and peace of letting go. Can you kind of tell us how that impact your client lives?
So a lot of people's emotions, like you alluded to earlier, are wrapped around their things.
Mm-hmm.
And people end up feeling almost controlled by stuff.
Yeah.
So when we start going through things, and two of the things I focus on with clients is, does this seem or is this something that joy, there's a joyful memory attached to it? And if they can't answer yes to either one of those questions, then we have to ask ourselves why we're holding on to it.
Yeah.
And once I've kind of broken it down for them in that really practical way, they're able to let go of one thing, they start to feel it.
Yeah.
So I call it the let go muscle. As we practice it over and over again, they start to feel more comfortable, having the capacity to say, this doesn't serve me either emotionally or emotionally.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me ask you then, why do you think it's so hard for us to let go of certain things? Like being in your field, working with your clients, what do you think they find the hardest thing to do that comes with letting go of something?
It's two things. It's sentimental things.
Mm-hmm.
So particularly as it pertains to things that belong to someone that we've lost. So let's say we've lost a parent.
Yeah.
It was my mom, or my mom gave it to me. So there's an incredible emotional attachment to it because of the person it came from. That's such an important person in their life. And now that person is gone. So that's one. And I can come back to that. But the other thing is that we live in a very materialistic and consumer-based society,
Yeah.
right? Like our economy is largely based on the consumption of things.
Yeah.
And so we are constantly bombarded with the message that the more things we have, the more important we are, or these things are going to make you laugh.
Yeah.
And then when we invest their hard-earned money in these things, we have to realize it's not useful. It's hard to let go of something that spends $100 or $200 on, or even $50 on, depending on
Yeah.
where you are. So it's really those two things, in my experience, that make it hard to let things go.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, because I'm into actually this question. I always like to ask people, when did they take the leap from employee to entrepreneur? When was that moment for you to say, you know what, I think I want to do this full time? Did you have that moment, that leap moment for you?
I did. Well, first of all, this is not my first rodeo in entrepreneurship.
Okay.
When my children were young, and I'm sure you find that with a lot of your guests, right?
Yeah.
We've done a few different things. When my children were very young, I was an early childhood educator before I became a nurse. And so I decided to bridge, my personal life and work life by starting a group family daycare. So that way I could provide childcare services to young children and care for my children at the same time in my home. And it was perfect.
Yeah.
The opportunity for me to make a good living, doing something that I really enjoyed, and being able to care for and be with my children 24/7. So
that's awesome.
I did that. I did that almost 20 years ago. Decided to go to nursing school. I've been in the nursing field for over a decade. When did I decide to go from my employee status to entrepreneurial status? When I started having to turn clients away. I was working full time, and I was providing service to my clients at night and on the weekends, and my calendar was just filling up.
Yeah.
Or I was like, need more space. There are only 24 hours in a day. There are only 7 days a week. I was fortunate. The organization that I worked for allowed me to switch status to per diem. Being per diem allowed me to work for them when I felt like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
When my schedule allowed. And I watched my schedule grow, and my bookings grew and grew and grew. And it just like this is fortunately had the flexibility to only work X amount of days a week. And it went from 4 to 1 to work.
Yeah. When did you, because the journey is always like up and down for people. Most people I interview, their journey is like, yeah, hey, it wasn't all roses when it started now. I had to build and I had to get to this moment. Did you see your journey? Did you have ups and downs in your journey of starting this business? Did anybody say to you like, girl, what are you thinking about doing? Really? You can help people organize? Did anybody say that to you? And did you have a feeling like, okay, should I really be doing this?
I'm going to be honest with you. I never doubted myself.
Oh, that's so awesome.
And someone who has always been very particular about the tribe I cultivate around myself. In adulthood, my eyes have widened and I've seen who the lovers and who the haters are.
Oh, yeah.
And very graciously in my personal life, been able to parse the haters, push them to the side. Like, you're not going to have a space in my life. You're not going to be a naysayer. You're either like on my team.
Yes.
You're either on the court or you're on the bench.
Right? Is it either you with me or you against me?
You can sit in the stands and just watch.
Yes.
And so, I'm very particular about that. I take that philosophy into my work, right? Like, if these things are in your home, supporting you to be this better version of yourself that you seem to be, then these things are just getting in your way. And so, no, like, the people in my life were very supportive. I mean, there were a couple of people, I remember when I first built my website and I told a family member who I was really close to, so I was like, do you want to see it? So,
God.
She's like, okay. So, you know what though? Like, that was like an eye opener for me, right? Because everybody was like, okay, let me see your website. Oh my God, it looks so good. Whatever. And when this one person was like, you know what? Control in my life.
I like that you were able to identify the lovers and the haters ahead of time.
Trust me, I had my pains going through it, but once I realized it, I was like, oh, word?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I see you coming. I see you. Yeah, like, okay, I'm not gonna make sure that I don't, have anything for you. I'm not gonna tell you nothing, so don't you worry about that. So I like that. And I like the fact that you didn't doubt yourself, because a lot of time, when we're looking at moving to this new into our second act. I interviewed this woman her show is called Second Act. I love that. We're moving to our second act or our third act, whatever it may be. We sometimes doubt ourselves. We sometimes feel like, okay, can I really do this? Like, oh my God, that check is gone now. So it can be a scary, like it can be a really scary thing. But you seem like your transition was a smooth transition, and the fact that you didn't doubt yourself and you was confident in what you're doing, it's exactly what, as entrepreneurs, we need to have, for those who are looking to take that leap. That's the type of confidence they need to have in themselves in order to be successful at it, because it's going to be some bumpy roads. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Everything doesn't always go the way you think it's supposed to go. But I think just taking the leap is brave and is courageous. And I think not doubting yourself is where it starts.
And surrounding yourself with the right people.
Yes, your tribe. You're right.
I've not done this myself. I've had very supportive people.
Yeah.
With the content, I will say that I strongly believe that there can be 20 people doing what you're doing, but no one does it like you. And so that's one piece of advice that I held dearly to. The other thing was, this is so me, right? Somewhere once that to figure out really what you're going to be about. Think about who you were when you were a child. Think about what brought you so much joy when you were a child, before the world got its hands on you and told you what you should or shouldn't be.
Yeah.
I had very interesting memories of enjoying organizing and getting rid of things and putting my own order. Like, I really enjoyed doing that when I was a kid. It made me really happy.
Oh, wow.
And realizing that it's a service that adds value to people's lives, when I couple all those concepts together, those are the concepts that fuel my confidence.
Yes, it's about finding what brings you joy. That's what led me to start this podcast, because I was like, I did the same thing. I was like, I remember not even as a child, but I used to work for Sirius Satellite Radio, and I'm like, I really did enjoy being on air. I used to do entertainment and sports news, and I was like, I really enjoyed it. And then I had came so far from it. I went into PR. I did all these different careers, product management, tech, stuff like that. And I just was like, you know what? I want to get back to that joy I had when I was doing that, and I want to go back to doing what I enjoy doing. And I think that's such good advice that, you know, think about what you enjoy, you know, from when you were a child, or just something you did in your life that brought you so much joy and made you happy. And that's what you can pursue, you know, because ultimately that becomes your passion. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And then you don't feel like you're working.
Yes.
Of course, you know, icing on the cake is that what you're doing, like what you're doing, you bring value to people's lives. And hosting this podcast and bringing these guests on who are sharing their experiences, you a whole legion of people.
Yes.
To pursue their dreams.
Yes.
So it's those two. It's you've got that innate passion. You've obviously got the talent, and you're making someone else's life better. So that's just a win on top of a win on top of a win
on top of a win. Because every time I tell people, every time I interview an entrepreneur, I always get inspired too by the story, by the journey, and it just keeps me on my own entrepreneur journey to say, okay, girl, listen. You can get knocked down sometimes, but you got to get back up. You know what I mean? And you got to stay confident and don't doubt yourself. So I'm glad I heard that word from you today, because doubting ourselves, and sometimes in the process we can doubt, okay, I don't know if I should be doing this full time, but it's good to hear. It's good to hear that someone reaffirm for you not to doubt yourself on your journey. You got to keep going forward. So I like that. Do you have like a success story that you can share in terms of like, I had a client who was like so overwhelmed, and now they just like, it just transformed their lives once everything was gone and all the clutter and everything now is organized. Okay.
I'll share one in particular that's very near and dear to my heart. When I first jumped into this field, I actually said to myself, you know what, let me do this for free first, right? Because I've done it for myself. I'd successfully decluttered my home and embraced it.
Yes.
You know, all this stuff. Doing it for myself and sharing it with social media leaders. And, you know, one of my social media groups, you know, somebody mentioned, you know, my place in the room is I need to help you. So let me go out and do this for free. Let me see how I do this with another person.
Yeah.
And it was one room, it was a bedroom, and it was really like that episode of Hoarders. The best of some Hoarders. It was literally like 5 foot, about 160 pounds. Let's say. All I could fit in the room was myself. Once I stepped into the room.
Wow.
It was the same. Like this bed person, so they actually had to turn sideways to get out of their room.
Yeah.
So this room was full of stuff, ceiling. She had a slip of bed to sleep on. It was really something. This person is probably one of the most talented people with the fine arts I've ever met in my life. Can draw, paint, can mold, can sculpt, can sew. Just incredible.
Wow.
We worked together for a year. Mind you, this is just me. Now, when people watch these episodes of Hoarders, it's like, oh, they come in, the psychologist talks to the person.
Yeah, it's tons of people.
Family, and then like 50 people running around the house, doing the stuff, and the crew comes in, does, you know, all these things happen in short periods of time with multiple dozens and dozens of people.
Yep.
It's just me. But during the course of time, we built a relationship. She ended up allowing me to declutter her kitchen because she was also a phenomenal cook. She ended up allowing me to help out in other parts of the house, some closets. Another family allowed me to help them with their home, which is why I spent so much time in the home. Some fundraising, able to do some contract work that was necessary, the repairs that were needed to get her things that she needed to function. Fast forward, she has had her work featured in local museums.
Oh, wow.
She's got a thriving sewing and tailoring business. So people come to her and they're looking for like a custom design for a gown. So not only does she do the design, she does the production. Her work has been featured in fashion shows.
Oh, wow.
They're doing her thing.
That is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, she's got the space.
Yeah.
physical space to produce.
Yes.
So she always was in her bed, drawing and doing things here and there. But, she'd work on a project and then it would kind of just get lost in the sauce of all the other projects.
Yeah.
But now she's got space to work and see her project through from beginning to end. Her confidence has built. She's been able to put herself out there and say, hi, yes, this is what I do. And in one of our mutual social media groups, when somebody asks for a dress, to be done, she's getting tagged like left and right. Oh, this person, this person, this person, this person.
That is so awesome. That is really awesome. That's a really good story. Because like you said, it's like she's so talented, but it's like all that clutter, just kind of like didn't motivate her to get different things done. And now coming in and having that space and feeling better when you walk into that space and being able to work and see your creations. That's an awesome story to share, Lisa. Thank you for that. That was awesome.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the minimalist life, because when people say, oh, I live a minimalist life, and I'm like, oh, okay, so you don't have nothing in your house, Dan. Is that what that means? I swear.
Like Norway or Sweden, maybe that's what that means.
Okay, so explain to the audience, what does that mean? Because that's what I'm like. You don't have no couches. You don't have nothing in there. You just got a chair. And so explain to us what that means.
So I think different people have different definitions of what minimalism means.
Okay.
Because what you just described is, for some people, what minimalism means. Like, it's like one chair, one little table, one spoon, one fork, one bowl, one black t-shirt, one pair of jeans.
Yes.
Some people live like that. And if that's what works for them, that's what works for them. Steve Jobs, rest in peace. Like, he wore the same thing all the time.
Yes.
And I think Zuckerberg wears the same thing all the time. There's a whole thing on like having a wardrobe, a minimalist wardrobe.
Mm-hmm.
Called decisions on a regular basis.
Yeah.
You can't be bothered standing in front of a closet for 30 minutes trying to figure out what to wear. They literally just like wear a uniform, but that's another thing.
Yeah.
For me, where I part the concept is recognizing enough of what serves you and brings you joy. It's that simple. If I love books, and I want to love a book, do I have the space for it, right? So I have to be honest about that.
Mm-hmm.
But if all of these books is functional to me, where I read them, I reference them, I re-reference them, so, whatever it is I'm doing. But also having these books bring me joy, and that's my minimalism. Now, if books are falling off the shelf, and if you're tripping over them, and you're creating a hazard, now we're off the minimalist.
Yeah.
Be able to fit our stuff in the space. But it's understanding, when I have enough. If I love black turtlenecks, how many black turtlenecks do I need? Well, if I need 5, I want to wear 5 every day for work, let's say your Monday through Friday life, then that's what I need. I need 5. I'm going to get 5 high quality black turtlenecks, and I'm going to rock them. I'm going to take good care of them. I don't need 30. I'm going to wear one every single day of the month. I'm not going to have them pile up and create all kinds of ridiculous laundry in my home. So it's recognizing how much is enough, and also making sure that everything in your space is curated to your life, to your experience. If I look at it, I don't like it, it shouldn't be in my home.
Yes.
And it doesn't make me smile, it shouldn't be in my home. I should look at the photography, the art, the books, my music collection, my dishes. I should look at all of it and be like, I love this.
Okay.
And I have enough. I have enough.
So minimalism is all about expressing self-control, right? It's being able to say, because I'm a kind of girl that I love coffee mugs, and you would tell me like, Shaunie, you have too many. You would say that to me because I'm not expressing self-control, but I love coffee mugs, right? And so every time I go to the store and I see one, I buy it. I don't necessarily need it, but I buy it because I'm like, oh, it's one that I don't have. And so I guess I have too many of those.
Do you use them all?
I use them all. I drink out of all of them. I do. I really do. I have my favorites, but I drink out of all of them. And I just...
Space in your kitchen?
I I have a cabinet for them. I have a space for them, but now they're kind of like coming out of that cabinet. So I have to now transfer them, try to, what it is now. It's like, I have to figure out, okay, where can I put them now? So I think that's probably the point I need to say, I have enough.
You know what? There may be one that you bought 5 years ago that's not doing it for you anymore like it did 5 years ago.
That's
true.
What I
mean?
Yeah, that's true.
So with you collect copies, you're a collector.
Yeah.
You're caring for them. They have a home. You can see them. You can access them. They're not in all sorts of bizarre places. They're not toppling on top of each other and getting chipped or chipping the glass in your cabinet. You know what I mean?
Yes. Or you have to get a separate storage for them.
Yeah, you're not putting them in a storage unit, which would be absurd.
Yes, exactly.
So like I said, I'm not saying minimalism is, you only need 2 coffee mugs.
Yeah.
It's what is enough for you that is functional for you and brings you joy and you have the space for it.
Yeah, I think that's I can register that concept. At first I thought it was like, you can't have nothing. And I'm like, that's not gonna work for me. So, but I can register that concept. Yeah, we do.
What I suggest to my clients when they have an abundance of things, but again, things that are functional or joyful for them.
Yeah.
Consider the 1 in, 1 out rule, right? Because we're adults. We've been accumulating things for years.
Yes.
And we will continue to accumulate things. You're at the checkout, there's a coffee mug there, those impulse buys.
That's exactly what it is.
But you look at the coffee mug, you're like, I love it. It's so cute. I don't have one like this. It's so cute. You buy it. You get home, look at your coffee mugs and go, man, I got this one like 12 years ago. I had like 3 from the Bahamas already.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just, this one has a crack in it. Let me just talk this one. Get one, you take one out. And that way you maintain the balance. You maintain the homeostasis of what you have.
Yes, I like that. Take 1 in and 1 out. Because that's true. I do have some that I've had for years that I like on the last leg that I can actually get rid of and just kind of like move in the new ones.
The new one that makes you go, oh.
Yeah, right? That's my obsession though. Excuse me. I love coffee mugs. I don't know why, but I do. Can you share with us how has, living with less personally affected your life and your business?
Living with less means when I come home every day, looking at a living room full of stuff that's making me go, I can walk into my living room and I can sit on the couch. There isn't stuff flying around all over the place. It's pretty much, there's very little to do. I mean, my house has to be cleaned like any other house, but there's not a lot of straightening up or picking up things because everything is pretty much in its place. And when things do get a little chaotic because life happens, we're lifing. So you may be rushing, you're coming in, you drop something, whatever it is. When it's time to do that cleanup, it's so easy because this goes here, this goes there, and there's just space for it.
Yes.
It's a time saver. People come to my house, and I tell them all the time, my house isn't exactly Pinterest ready, it's so decorated so beautifully. But people who come to my house, unanimously say, it's beautiful in here. It's so warm here. I'm so glad that my guest.
Yes. How would you tell a mom of 2 or 3, a single mom, or even a wife of family that has 2, 3 or more kids? How do you help them adjust to more of a minimalist life? Because when we have kids, we always want them to have the toys. And even I'm thinking right now myself, I'm like, you know what? I got to go upstairs and get rid of all the toys that the kids are not playing with because the new toys are coming in, right? And so how do you help them get a little more organized and declutter when you have kids and they always want their stuff everywhere? And, it can be chaotic with a family.
Yeah. I recently was a guest about that very topic, especially as the holidays are coming.
Yes.
Households are about to be flooded with all these toys. I mean, there are a few different ways to approach it for a mom. It's, with anything, it's always about helping people understand the benefit behind an action change, a behavior change.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, number one, if you have less stuff in the house, it's just less clean, it's less for you to manage. That's more time to reclaim for yourself and for your family.
Yeah.
One. 2, as a parent, one of your responsibilities after your children safe and well is to inform their character as human beings.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that teaching kids to be grateful for what they have is an important part of, like, you know, building character. Like, we should be grateful for what we have. Like, we're not entitled to like every single thing. Do you know what I'm getting at?
Yes, I do. Mm-hmm.
So you can kind of teach that lesson through keeping the toys and stuff at a minimum, you know. And it's important to teach your kids like how to care for things.
Yep.
Right, so that they, you know, they can learn responsibility. Right. So like, if you move all the pieces, then how are we going to, you know, play with the game or do the puzzle? We have to take care of what we have. But if there's too much of it, it's hard to teach that lesson because kids get overwhelmed just like kids do.
Yes, they do.
So the less that they have, the easier it is for them to be able to manage their belongings.
Yeah, that's true. And like I said, the holidays are coming, and I'm just thinking about it myself when having this conversation and everything that I know I have to go up there and do. And I'm like, I have to do it secretly because, you know, especially when they have so much, because, you know, if you do it while they're there, they're like, no, don't throw my toy where I want it. And they never play with it. Or either it's like broken because the dog chewed on it or something.
No, they recognize, oh, this is broken. Tell you, like, mommy, I like this one. Mommy, I don't like this one. Another strategy I impart to parents is to cycle the toys in and out. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So keep X amount of toys in the room. You don't have to discard or get rid of the other toys, but if you have the space to do it for the house and you have an attic or a basement, then store the toys out of sight. Before you do that, you know, really pay attention to like what toys do kids enjoy the most.
Mm-hmm.
They enjoy the building toys, the dress-up toys, the more tech type of toys, or are they big readers or drawers? You know, whatever. Your child will show you what they're interested in. Could be multiple things, of course.
Yeah.
So zero in on what their interests are, and then leave those toys for them. Like, my children went to Montessori. One of my children went to Montessori, and I was very intrigued by how they will allow a child to pursue their interests. You know, as long as the child is interested. Like, why break the child's interest, right? If that's what they want to explore, you know, allow them to explore it. When they're kind of done with it, they'll move on to the next thing. So you focus on that, leave those items there for them, take everything else out, store it someplace. Again, if you have the space, it's kind of hard for apartment dwellers, but
yeah,
have a house. And then 3 or 4 months, some period of time, cycle out the old ones and bring in the new ones. And then the ones that were hidden are going to feel brand new to them again.
Yeah, that's true. I think I will do that.
Spark some new interest. Yeah,
I think I will do that because for me, I feel like the main thing that they play with, and I'm pretty sure you see this too, kids, they are on their tablets. That's why I'm like, I'm just gonna get rid of these toys. They don't even play with them. They're too busy on Roblox. It's like, what's the point of having these toys here? But I think I'll do that. Like you said, I'll take that suggestion. I will put them in the garage. I will box them up. The ones that I think are broken and really the ones I think are broken and just not worth it, I'm going to throw them away.
No, you throw those away.
Yeah, I'm going to throw those away because they're killing me with those. But
they're broken and they're missing like important pieces. Just, you know, if they can be recycled in the community, recycle them, what have you, get rid of those.
I'm going to do that, and I'll box up the other ones and then wait until they're not recognizing they're gone. I'm going to donate those to the Goodwill.
Yeah. Part 2. You can also, you know, talk about donating. I think it's also important to kind of teach kids like, you know, empathy.
Yes.
You know, I've worked with children and been like, you know, not all kids have a mom or a mom and a dad.
Yes.
And, you know, have parents who can give them all the toys. So we give 1 or 2 toys to some other kids, you know, who don't have any. And you know, when you put it to them like that, you're giving them an opportunity to show how nice and how kind and how thoughtful they can be. Like, yeah, you know, they've come to me and say, Miss Lisa, I want to give this doll to another little girl or boy who doesn't have a doll.
Oh yeah, I like that too. Okay.
It's another learning lesson.
It is. Okay. I can do that. I can involve them in that because I'm telling you right now, Lisa, I was going to do it secretly. And they're just going to come in that room one day and be like, well, what happened to my toys? And I would have been like, I don't know. Did you move the toys? Can you share for someone who's overwhelmed with clutter, like the first 3 steps you would tell them to do, or you would help them with?
Yeah, I would tell them to start with obvious things that obvious. You'd be surprised, like what's kind of like laying around and like just caught up in the middle of the other stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, in water bottles.
Oh God, water bottles. Yeah.
You know, empty plastic bags. You know, we get our stuff from Amazon and we open the box and there's all the packaging and we take out the thing, but like it sits there.
Yeah. It does.
And it's taking up like a huge chunk of space, and there's stuff like behind it or in front of it or beside it, looking like it's taking up half the room, when really if you just picked up that box and got rid of it, you're like, oh, there's the couch.
Yes, exactly.
So start with the super obvious things.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like I said, packaging is a big one that just kind of plays around. So that's one strategy. The other strategy is to start with a very small amount of time. Set a timer for like 10 minutes and say for 10 minutes, I'm going to tackle this drawer or this corner of the counter or this little section of the table, like a really small part. And you're going to start by throwing things away that you don't need.
Yeah.
Or this is a big one, put things back where they belong. Just call it relocating. And that's what happens. You get things from one part of the house, you get things in the bathroom, then you go into the living room, you're watching your show, you're doing your hair, you're doing your kids' hair, whatever it is, and then the brush, to move the gel, it just sits there. But it really has to go back into the bathroom or the person's bedroom.
Okay, like that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So give yourself 10 minutes. Like for 10 minutes, I'm just going to relocate. I'm just going to put things back, back where they belong.
Yeah.
And more often than not, minutes will go really quickly. Just going to the shower and being like, the laundry bag, and I put all the stuff back in the bathroom, and I picked up the dishes that the kids left around the living room, back in the kitchen, and things get done.
Things get done. What advice do you have for a person who struggle with the difference between letting something go and keeping the rest? Like, what is that? What is either keeping what matters and letting the rest go? What advice would you give to them? Like, how do you make that discernment between the two?
You have to be honest.
Yeah.
Be honest about what you really use. There is a quote, not based on research, but totally I would say that this is true. We wear 20% of our clothes 80% of the time.
Yeah.
We have our favorites. We tend to wear our favorites over and over again. We have what flatters us. We have what we feel the best in. And why not rewear those things? Because they flatter us. It's what we feel great in. They're our favorite colors, our favorite fabrics, what have you. And so just be honest about that. It's okay to wear something twice. Oh, but it's on Instagram. So what?
People get too caught up in social media that way too.
It literally informs their decisions about having to get something new for every occasion. It'll look great on you once. It'll look great on you 3 times.
You know what? I'm guilty of this because I will keep something. I do give away. Like I'll go in and do like the beginning of the year. I go through my closet like, okay, I'm gonna get rid of whatever I don't wear. If I haven't worn it within the last 2 years, I'm never gonna wear it. But then I'll say to myself, well, what if I want to wear it one day? So I'll end up keeping the majority of the stuff that I really thought I was gonna get rid of because I keep thinking to myself, well, you know what? I might wear it one day, so let me just keep it. When honestly, I probably should just let it go.
It really depends. Again, do you have the space for all of it? Is your closet functional? Like, can you walk into your closet and like access everything? Or is holding on to that stuff getting in the way of having function in your closet?
Yeah, I think my racks are too full. I gotta inch in there to get something out.
If the clothes are like so super, packed.
Yes.
And like when you pull one thing out, kind of like 3 other things come out with it. You kind of want your clothes to be able to flow, so you can go like this and then look without actually having to like pull it out.
Yes. Yeah.
So that you don't make a huge mess.
I think that's one of the things.
The other thing, ask yourself, is this thing easily replaceable?
Yes.
Right. So if it's something that you got, let's say you're on vacation in Ghana and it's unique, it's one particular market that you found and you're not going to be able to find it in Philly or wherever it is you live, then hold it for a little while longer. But if it's like a black t-shirt,
you know what? I think that's what I need to ask myself. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times I ask myself, okay, so do you really need it? Like, seriously? And you're right. It's like, I keep thinking about if I haven't worn it forever, like, am I ever really going to wear it? And sometimes it'd be things that I bought new that just sits in the closet that I expected to wear. But then because it's so caught up between everything, I didn't even know it was there, So it's like.
You didn't have access, so you need to thin it out.
Yes, I do.
Question I tell people to ask themselves is, right now, would you buy it?
That's a good question. That's a good question because I probably wouldn't. And if I wouldn't, then I can get rid of it.
Let it go.
I'm gonna let it go. Okay, listen, I got me some good advice out of this one. What do you have? What are your future plans? Do you have any things you're looking forward to when it comes to your business and in this decluttering space?
So I'm really excited about being a guest on these podcasts. It's given me an opportunity to share a lot of my thoughts.
Yes.
And about how to address this work. And I do want to get further into the speaking space.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to be able to put something together in writing to be able to share with people. Again, I just want to be able to address the concepts in larger groups. Right now I work with people, one individual, one family at a time.
Yeah.
I love the work that I do. I cultivate amazing relationships with every single one of my clients. But I really want to be able to share this on a larger scale. And I will add, as a woman of color, this is a conversation that is very new for a lot of us.
Yes.
And I am particularly interested in addressing more and more women of color about these topics.
Yeah, it is definitely a new space for us because, like I said, we are always, our community is more so like minimalist, like who, where, what. And, we keep things, you know what I mean? Because we keep things from forever because our grandmothers and our mom, our grandmothers and their grandma, everybody has. It's the way it's always been. So we're not going to throw nothing that we believe is sentimental to us out. And just the fact that I think it's the emotional piece when it comes to the stressful piece of it. And we said, you feeling overwhelmed. We need to recognize that, hey, sometimes we feel overwhelmed. It reflects in our lives and in our homes as well. And we need to identify that that's what that is. Maybe you can't get it together in the house simply because you're feeling overwhelmed in something else. So you're right. It's a much larger conversation that needs to be had. And, I'm glad you're out here having this conversation around decluttering and organizing, because I feel like I'm top organizer, but just listening to you today, I still got a long way to go.
It's a journey, Shaunie. It's truly a journey. It's not like one and done. Like I said before, we life, like things happen. But once you kind of get your mind right about the issues and you have some organizational systems in place, and when things do get out of control, you have the knowledge, you have the beliefs, and you have the tools in place.
Yes.
To restore the balance that you need.
Yes, exactly. Let me ask you, do you do this virtually, or everything has to be in person?
I prefer to do this in person. I know that we live in a virtual world, but there's something about that in-person human connection that I think is just so valuable.
Yes.
So I'll do consultations virtually.
Yeah.
We'll have conversations. The actual work, I am present.
Yeah, I just about to say it'll be hard to do that virtually because then you'll have to depend on the person to get rid of the items, and most of them will be like, But when you're there in person, you can't depend on them to do it. Basically, you got to do it. You got to be there because it is that
they need that support.
They do. They need that support. They need that level of comfortability.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. They need someone there with them to help them let go. Because if not, we will never let it go. We will hold on to it and we'll just be like, yeah, I did it. And then don't show you and say it's still there. So I get it. It has to be in person.
To leave a job site once, and my assistant called me and said, like, no, that can't happen.
Exactly.
And the things, when we're done, like, I take the bags with me. Like, I can't even leave the bags behind.
Oh, no. Because they're going back in there and they're going to get them.
They're going to go.
Yeah, they're going to go back and get them. This has been, I'm sorry, my throat has been bothering me all day. I think one of the kids gave me something. But this has been a good conversation. Let me ask you, before we end this conversation, is there a client that you work with that was difficult and it was like they just didn't want to let go? Was it that, did you have a struggle with a particular client?
The one I just mentioned.
But you got there though.
Received multiple calls, family members. One family member called me and said, it was okay for her to go out in the trash and bring things back into the house.
Oh my God.
Sister, I said I had to leave the job site for my assistant who called and said, opening up the bag that we already filled up. So, it was a learning experience. Like early on in our session today, you asked about like ups and downs.
Yeah.
So, I I'm like a super optimistic person. So I kind of don't look at downs as downs. I look at downs as like opportunities to learn.
Yeah.
And so with this particular client, if I had to go back in time, I think I would have probably assessed a little bit more profoundly her readiness. And I would have taken a slightly different approach. My approach was honestly like a bit aggressive because I'm so like, yeah. You know, your granddaughter's gonna be able to come over and jump on the bed with you again.
Yes.
You know? So she needed a slower pace. It was too much for her all at once. But yeah, we had, and we've actually been in contact. I really hold my relationship with my clients for a year. We've been in contact for a year now. And we work at a much slower pace now. In the beginning, you know, she would do a session and one of those things would happen, or she would call me like, where's this, where's that? And, you know, kind of like having an anxiety attack. It's very, very psychological for her.
Yeah.
And so I had to learn to adjust my pace with her and adjust, you know, my expectations. Of course, I want everything to be all roses and wonderful for everyone. You know.
Yeah, doesn't always work out that way.
It doesn't always work out that way, but you learn. You don't fail, you learn.
Yeah, so every experience is tailored to that particular client because everyone's experience is different with it. Yeah. Well, Lisa, this has been a good show. Tell us how we can connect further with you, because I'm sure people listening are going to want some help and maybe in your area. So tell us how we can connect further with you.
So I'm in the New York City area. I do travel. If you can get me there, I will be there to assist you with your project. The name of the company is Minimalist NYC. You can go to my website, www.minimalisanyc.com. You can find me on Instagram, same name, Minimalist NYC. You can send me an email, minimalisanyc@gmail.com. You know, I'd be happy to speak to you. Sometimes I get requests just for a call, just for like a brief, you know, conversation, just to kind of give somebody a couple of tips and ideas of how to get started.
Yeah.
It doesn't always turn into a client, but that's fine. I'm happy to take, you know, 10 or 15 minutes to have a conversation with someone, just to give them some pointers. You know, which way to go, or answer some basic questions.
That's awesome.
I've got a Facebook group, which is really just all about being supportive and helping women and people understand that they're not alone. You know, a lot of people feel a lot of shame around their space.
Yes.
And like literally think like I'm the only person who can't get it together.
Yeah.
I'm here to tell you that's not the case. We're out here momming and working and doing the entrepreneurial thing and trying to be a partner to someone and caring for our parents and a home. It's a lot. So if things are out of order and you're just not, you feel like you don't know how to handle it, you are not alone. So my Facebook group is designed to let people know that, you know, this is a shared experience and we can help each other get through it.
That's really good. And we'll make sure we have all your info down in the show notes and on YouTube as well. So I appreciate you for being on this show. This has been really good. This really has me thinking about the stuff that I need to do to kind of declutter and organize in a better way in my own home as well. And, you know, with my family members too, that I know need some help and stuff like that. So this has been awesome. I'll make sure I recommend you to those who I know need the help, because some people don't want to admit it. Some people don't want to admit it, Lisa. They don't want to admit it. I'm going to tell you, you know what? This is a woman I met and she's really awesome. I think you should just call her and just talk. You know, you can't come out and say it because people look at you like, what? You know?
Judgment-free zone, you know, just want to help people live better.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. So again, I appreciate you for being on the show. We look forward to having you come back again, because I do want to have this conversation again around organization and cluttering. I think is a good conversation to kind of have at this time of the year as well, being that we're about to go into a new year. So people need to get their whole lives organized, you know?
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Yes. All right, guys, listen, I am Shaunie Sanders. This is the Girl Take No podcast, and we will talk to you next time.